right now we bring to you, keep all of the amazing guests coming. There's a lot of pressure on this one because you have to follow up an all-time great.
Yeah, that seems a little unfair, but whatever.
We didn't even know.
It's fine.
We didn't even know.
Okay.
I mean, if you get Billie Jean, you're taking Billie Jean.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's just bad luck for me, so I'll do my best.
All right, so we bring to you, in case you don't recognize the voice, you should, from the NFL Network, football's resident data scientist. It is Cynthia Frelund. How are you?
That was a really good intro.
Okay, thank you.
You know, that probably the first time I've heard it like that, so I'll send you some money later.
Okay, great.
You know, some royalty money.
Yes.
I'm going to use that one again.
Please do, please do. Now, I have to ask this just to kind of maybe break the ice real quick. Are the Detroit Lions and their fans ever going to have nice things?
No.
It's
We're
just
not.
Impossible.
No, the best thing, with the draft there, I'm from East Lansing, Michigan, where Michigan State is, and grew up a Lions fan, and the best thing to come out of that Lions past year, I mean, it was a great year, let's be clear.
Goff was 5th for MVP, I believe.
Great. But I rescued a dog from the Detroit draft, so this year, you know, that we did have something lasting.
Okay.
So I do have one nice thing from.
Did you
give
it
a mutt or is it a breed?
Well, I thought he was a mutt, but turns out I did his DNA and he's a full husky. So
okay.
I mean, he's crazy, but he's 100% husky.
Okay.
Did he get like a fun football-y name
His brother's name is Gordy after Gordie Howe.
Okay.
He's a rescue, another rescue husky. But I let my fiance name him because I kind of just brought the dog home without asking my fiance. So my fiance went with Clyde.
So that worked with me too. We already had a dog.
Yep.
My wife wanted another dog.
Yep.
And she said, you can name it whatever you want.
That's right.
And this dog's name is Boba Fetch.
I love it.
And so that was the deal that we
Perfect.
made.
This is a dog that I found out this morning, thanks to the Dallas Animal Shelter, that has been named Majors, which is my name. And I sent that to my wife, and she said, "Can I has him?" And so I was like, "We already has a dog." And she said, "But we needs two." And I said, "All right, we'll
I will
figure something
say,
out."
two is they're better. They play with each other. They have
that is
mine
true.
are like best friends.
Yeah.
They don't like being apart even for 15 minutes.
That's
so,
amazing.
Yeah.
See, ours are best friends and also worst enemies.
But that's part of being a best friend.
It feels very brother sister kind of like.
Oh yeah.
I enjoy getting a second dog. My son, who's now 15, says he's going to pick up all the extra poop, and obviously that lasted 1 week.
Can he come to my house? Oh, okay.
It doesn't
I
work,
bet he
trust
does
me.
not.
No.
No.
So that's my job again.
Kids.
Yeah.
The 16-year-old's always like, "Hold on, $25 now," and I'm like,
Right.
No,
Right.
that's not what we're dealing with here. Now, yesterday we had a situation happen because
God.
I got done talking with Jane.
Yep.
And she said, "Cynthia is my best friend."
Oh, I love Jane.
And I was like, "That's amazing." Well, when I told Mike this, Mike Diana Rossini was sitting right next to us.
Oh, we're starting to fight.
Yeah, Mike goes, "But I thought Diana Rossini was her best friend."
Yeah.
So I caught up with Diana, and
Love it.
this is a little audio I have to play for you from Diana Rossini yesterday. Okay, so what is it like knowing that Cynthia Frelund is now Jane Slater's best friend?
Well, as the original best friend of Jane, Ashley Slater, I will tell you that I've discovered that she is very best friend slutty.
Oh, my gosh.
She just hands out that title. Essentially, if you say hi to Jane, best friend immediately. Besties, hashtag best friends forever. I'm done with it. It's over, Jane.
Oh, my gosh. Can you be a best friend group, or is it only one?
You have one best friend.
Okay.
It's not a plural. You pick one and you stick with it through the thick and the thin. The problem with her is she bails when it gets bad, and so she just picks up more. So it's been bad for me, as you can tell.
I get it. I understand. Well, thank you very much.
I have a theory.
This was a great interview.
All right. There it is.
Here we go. This
I
is
have
a
a
great
theory.
interview.
Yeah, this is a great interview.
Thank you.
I have a theory. Diana's husband, Eagles fan.
Oh.
Eagles fans and Cowboys fans are
Gross.
going to
Yeah, I
have
don't like it.
some sort of
Yeah.
rift between them. It can't exist. They can't exist like that.
You're right.
I think that's
completely
really
agree.
so. You can't just look at like what she actually said. Look at the big picture,
Yeah.
right? We have to put our tinfoil hats on. We'll make sure, but I think that might be it.
Jane, is she very good at bringing lots of friends into the mix? Is that how she
Jane?
does it, though?
Jane is the ultimate connector.
Okay.
Jane, there are so many of us in this whole league that cover the league, that work at networks, different networks, and there is no better person than Jane to like bring us like she makes you laugh every time. She's there for you whenever. She's just ride or die, and she means it. So she probably is the only person I know that could have multiple best friends and actually mean it.
One of the reasons I saw you walking around, I was like, oh, I love this because my co-host is Beautiful Mind Math Guy, and like we always ask
People
him
make
to split
fun
the
of me
bill.
for it.
Same.
Like
He's our
last
human
year,
calculator.
Same.
So.
we went to a restaurant. There was 15 of us, and they said they don't split checks. And I was like, show me the check. Everyone put your initials by it. I got it.
Perfect.
Huh?
And he figured it all out. So I wanted y'all to have a numbers off for this Super Bowl.
Oh, great.
I'm going to lose this. I do not want to compete.
I was just going to
in
let y'all ride with it.
So actually, I did kind of have a weird numbers question because everyone is talking about, Chiefs stopping Saquon, their playoff defense, especially against the run, has been so good. How do you quantify or how do you judge the strength of the Eagles' offensive line? Because we were talking with Brian Baldinger, and that was one of the things he goes, hey, that's great. This Eagles' offensive line strength is at a different level. Like, how do you quantify that?
One easy way is the yards before contact allowed on your running back. So in the past, Saquon had been hit behind the line of scrimmage. Just think about it from physics standpoint. If a bowling ball, Saquon Barkley, he's just so thick, gets going faster, it's much harder to stop him. Even if once he gets a full head of steam going, it's much harder to stop him than if you stop him at or behind the line of scrimmage. If he hasn't gotten more than 3 steps, way easier to bring him down. So when I'm looking at this and measuring the value of that O-line in the run game specifically, I'm curious about very good tackling defenses. How have they looked against better O-lines, right? It would be nice if we would have had more recent data on on the Chiefs defense versus the Lions, because they had a great O-line too, but you got to kind of take what you're given from that.
How difficult is that in terms of stopping Barkley when he also leads the league in yards after contact? That feels like a daunting
but think about
task.
Think about it. If I'm running full speed, that contact is much less. It's not going to hurt me as much, right?
True.
It's not going to stop me as much.
That's true.
But if I'm not, so it kind of makes sense that if you're yards before contact go hand in glove with yards after contact, because it's not like and just the same thing with yards after the catch. If you're running in space, you're going to get more yards after the catch than if you have to possession and then start running, right? So
let me ask if this analogy would work for you. It's kind of like if you're ever stuck in traffic on the highway, you can't just divert to another lane. You got to get at least a little bit of a rolling start, so then you have the opportunity to cut into that other lane. Okay.
Yep.
And then you get the guys like Sean Alexander. They're like, I'm trying to avoid contact by just brushing. Like I'm just trying to get a brush on somebody.
Right.
How do you This is something we've never been able to figure out. How do you quantify the value of defensive tackle and what there's no real
the Cowboys said 0.
Yeah, the Cowboys have not believed in it forever, and I'm trying to figure out how to get them to understand this.
Well,
Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis are pretty special teams.
And it's going to be a problem. Milton Williams has also really stepped up. Well, I think part of it is when you're watching the evolution of where we get the pass rush from, right? It went outside, and then you had interior pass rush, Aaron Donald was make it, whatever, and then it'll go back outside. There's kind of this ebb and flow, and a lot of it has to do with supply and demand of players. If you don't believe in or want to pay a defensive tackle what the rate is, but you'd rather want to pay Micah Parsons, you can't pay everyone. So you kind of do have to pick your poison there. Plus, this draft is very good for defensive tackles, so this is a very strong defensive tackle class. So perhaps now they could take their strategy and adjust it a little bit because they'll be able to get a rookie contract for it.
Kevin, one of the best defensive linemen in the draft is Mason Graham in Michigan, and you know how Cowboys fans feel about Michigan guys after Taco and Mozzie.
He could be the most amazing football player you've ever seen. If the Cowboys draft him, Cowboys fans will be so furious when that goes
just
down.
Because of the helmet. That's it. Just because the
that
jersey.
Winged helmet hits you every time.
Yeah, it is a bizarre thing. So I'm trying to figure this out for myself, and we've talked about this all week. I see so many advantages for the Eagles in this game. I think they have the better roster, and yet I just come back to the default position of it feels dumb to pick against the Chiefs, even if I'm this point. Does that make sense to you?
I feel exactly the same way. My math picked the Eagles to win. If you go unit by unit and say who has the advantage matchup, you're going to come out with more Eagles advantages than Chiefs advantages. And other than quarterback, though, it's hard to quantify how much more Patrick means, and it's not just I feel bad because I'm not throwing shade at Jalen Hurts. I just think Patrick is probably the best we're going to see in our lifetime, whatever. So that's just a difference. So
that doesn't feel like a spicy opinion.
I know. I just feel bad because I feel like some people get like too hard. Eagles fans are not known for being really nice. So like,
yes.
you know, like they're maybe a little too hard. Anyways, they may go a little too hard.
They punched a horse after they won the Super Bowl.
That was a positive punch.
Yeah.
They were happy.
Yay!
Yeah, they were excited about that one.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like you go unit by unit, you're going to pick the Eagles. But to me, it's like how? What is the easiest path for the Eagles to win? And like if the Eagles are going to win, to me the easiest path is Saquon clipping off 6, 5, 7, like 6 yards per clip.
Yeah.
Not having an average of 6, but having one explosive run, then getting stopped at the line of scrimmage 6 times, right? I'm saying just making that defense
4,
work.
7, 5, 8, like pretty in
just
that
chunky,
variable range.
Just chunky runs, and they don't even need to be the explosives. Like you close your eyes, you obviously think of the Rams game and those like really long touchdowns. It doesn't even need to be that. It just means chunk. That's death by 1,000 paper cuts. That's how they would. My forecast for the easiest way that they would win. But on the other side, you can't count Patrick Mahomes out. Like you just feel like there's always something there, and you know who else feels it too? His teammates. And I think that mental standpoint and that kind of psychology of that does change things. Like if you know Patrick Mahomes can make this crazy throw, it's not like you're sitting there, you're like, well, like maybe he's going to do it or maybe not. Like you're like, no, like 9 times out of 10 he's going to make this.
We talked about this earlier. When they're trailing by 10 or more points in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs and Mahomes are 3-1. Like that is a mind-boggling statistic. And everyone on the sideline, if you fall down 13, 14 or whatever, is going to be like, we can still win. Like, no problem. I do not feel that way if the Eagles fall behind. They're like, we're screwed.
Because they're not getting – Saquon struggles to get the ball in that situation now.
It obviously, whenever you give Steve Spagnuolo a little bit more obvious pass, run, whatever it is, Steve Spagnuolo has done it for so long, you have to give him credit for being able to dial up the right kind of blitz in the right situation and the right, whatever coverage he wants to. Great. We've seen them give up yards to tight ends. Okay, maybe Dallas Goedert has the opportunity to get some yards if they're really attacking Saquon, but they have a plan for that. They could surrender the yards, but not the like full touchdown or what would be a devastating blow.
Hey, so here's my football question: who's your favorite football player of all time? Maybe your favorite
time.
Maybe your Detroit Lion favorite player.
Ooh. Well, Barry Sanders is the reason I became a football fan.
So Barry Sanders, what if like in year 4 of his career they would have just traded him for a really old guy and maybe just a draft pick like we are dealing with Luka Doncic getting traded to the Lakers, and they would have traded him to like let's say the Bears or the Vikings or Packers just to really like rub it in.
I actually thought that was fake. I thought
we all did.
There wasn't a human being who didn't think it was real.
I saw that and I was like, wow, this is a good spoof account. Like they really like this spoof account, like like the Adam Schefter, and it'll be like Schefters with an S or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not over it.
Okay,
who's your pick? I know you said
Eagles. I'm going to go with my math.
Okay.
My gut says Chiefs, but my math says Eagles. Ahead of the season, my math was Eagles over Chiefs. So that was before the season got even, like, one game got played, so I was just pretty happy. Like, I can't bail on it now.
I'm with you.
Like,
my wife jokes with me. She's like, do you see in the movies, they're like, trust your heart, not your brain. I was like, that's so stupid.
I trust my math.
Yeah, trust my brain and my math, for sure. Thank you very much.
You guys
Appreciate
are awesome.
it.
Thank you.
I think you did a good job following up Billie Jean King.
Hey,
listen, someone had to do it. I'm glad it was me.
Jane told us the other day. She said, "Hey, she gets on air, she's gonna blow everybody's minds." I'm glad we
2 legends back to back.
Yeah, look at that, legendary.
She hedged her bets though, and she said she's no Rossini, but she's solid.
And now Gold Jr. has to follow you.
Okay.
Good luck to him.
Oh,
Coming
man, he's in big trouble.
Up next.